Welcome back. And now it's time for our press review. We're going to take a look at the main headlines of our Egyptian dailies. First, allow me to welcome my guest for today, Dr. Raouf Gafaar. He is a political and economic analyst. First of all, good morning, sir. Right, let me start by taking a look at الأهم newspaper. And just to start with the banner of الأهم. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Wednesday received FAO General Director Jose Graziano de Silva. The meeting was attended by Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri, Minister of Agriculture Abdel Menam al-Banna, and senior officials of the international organization. Presidential spokesman Ala Yusuf said that President el-Sisi and the FAO Director General discussed their mutual ties between Egypt and the organization. They also discussed cooperation between the two sides in addition to enhancing development and food security in Egypt. Right, and sir, first of all, how do you read this?
We want to develop on the agricultural side, and there is nothing better than getting the experience of such organizations to help us introduce new methods, new breeds and techniques, of course, in agriculture. And I think we will
especially that we were talking about the 1.5 million fed downs and talking about the future of agriculture.
Exactly, and
actually we need it a lot. We need this.
We have always been at least cultivating our needs. Now we don't. So I think with the new techniques, with the new technologies, we can increase the production, we can introduce new breeds, and again, will be very useful for Egypt.
Right. Moving on to Al-Masri al-Yawm. Well, our ambassador to Warsaw, Hussam Qawish, revealed that President el-Sisi has invited Polish counterpart to visit Cairo during the second half of 2017. He said that the visit would be an important opportunity to deepen cooperation between both sides, especially as they cope with the passage of 90 years since the start of diplomatic relations between Egypt and Poland. This year will witness a large number of mutual visits of senior officials of the two countries, where Polish foreign minister is scheduled to visit Cairo for political consultations with Egypt. Egypt will receive within days a Polish delegation headed by chairman of the University of Warsaw, who will visit Queen Hatshepsut Museum in Alexandria in the presence of Polish archaeologists mission working in Egypt. Talking about our relation with Poland in general and how we can take benefit out of this, and what kind of projects or experience that we can take from them.
The relation with Poland was always very good, and
we used to have a great number of Polish tourists, actually.
In the 70s,
yes.
I think 60s and 70s, our relation with Poland was excellent. Poland is one country that is reasonably developed. The technology is not as advanced maybe as other countries, but they are closer to us as far as technology is concerned. So it would be easier for Egypt to make use of their knowledge and their experience. And it's about time that we renew our relations with as
I
much
remember
countries
in the 90s we used to receive a large number of Polish people.
Of course. As I said, even before they joined the EU, we always had excellent relations with Poland. And it's about time, as I said again, to develop our relations with countries that are somewhat closer to us than the most developed countries in Western Europe.
Right, moving on to أخبار اليوم newspaper. The Suez Canal Authority's chairman, Mohab Mamish, said that the new Suez Canal on Wednesday received 47 ships from both directions carrying a total load of 2.5 million tons after a pontoon sank at the 73-kilometer mark of the main canal. The incident occurred at 1 a.m. on Wednesday. Mamish added, pointing out that the authority immediately sent a vessel to tow the pontoon and evacuate the canal, according to a statement released by the authority. Mamish also assured that no lives were lost and navigation was not affected by the incident, as the new canal worked as an alternative waterway. How do you read this?
It happens, accident happens, and But I think that the Suez Canal Authority is very well equipped, and they can handle such situations very easily. And they have,
professionally,
of course,
yes.
they have developed and gained experience over the years. I think they can handle not only within the Suez Canal area, but I think they have been used in different other places because they have the technology, they have the know-how, and it's a minor thing, but there's no problem with it at all.
Right. Back or still with Al-Masri اليوم, Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Ahmed Al-Tayyib, congratulated Egyptian women on International Women's Day celebrated on the 8th of March. In a statement, Al-Tayyib said that Islam honored women, putting them in a higher position than they were, making them equal partners to men with same rights and duties, and recognized the importance of their key role that in building nations. The statement added that Al-Azhar refuses all forms of violence practiced against women. Al-Azhar also called for women's empowerment and to be put in the rightful position, in addition to respecting the rights guaranteed by Islam before they were advocated by human rights organizations. How do you read this and away from words? Because when it comes to women, yes, still they need a lot. And actually, you know, it has to do with our culture. We have the male culture across the Middle East.
And this is most unfortunate. I mean, Islam, ever since the early days of our Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, women had or enjoyed the highest respect and honor in the society. And even he was married to his first wife, was a businesswoman, and he was taking care of her business. And so they were there, and they were very active in their communities. And I wonder what happened.
What happened?
I don't know. Maybe it's a different
Even women
culture.
themselves, they have the same
they
sometimes.
ceded to the wave, but it is wrong. I mean, women not only they represent 50%, but they play the most important
Maybe
role.
they represent the 50%, but they are responsible for the other
For
50%.
the raising of the new generations and for the future of mankind in general. So I wonder, and I think it's about time that Al-Azhar puts his foot down towards I don't want to say giving back, but at least changing the view the community has now towards women. And
maybe we can do something, because the idea of having the year 2017 as a year of women,
sure,
maybe we can change something.
I'm sure. I mean, we see around us now, we have women, I mean, ministers, prime ministers, they are as equal as men on every aspect. Addition to that, they are, as I said a few minutes ago, they are responsible for the future because they are raising the new generations.
Right, let me move on to Al-Watan newspaper. Mohammed Musa Omran, chairman of the new and renewable energy authority, said that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi instructed that administrative buildings in the new administrative capital should be run using solar power, which will boost Egypt's solar energy field, increasing employment opportunities in the field and reduce the cost of solar energy equipment. At a press conference, Omran announced the launch of the first current transformer to reduce the cost of producing energy via solar plants. The state places great importance on increasing our reliance on renewable energy, and the Ministry of Electricity has made a significant amount of legislative amendments to allow the participation of the private sector in energy production projects for both conventional and renewable energy. And actually, this is, again, something that is really very, very important. And if we can achieve this, actually, Egypt will be #1 in solar energy.
My dear, we have 365, almost 365 days of sun. By the way, it's not required direct sun now for the generation of power. Light is good enough. So I wonder, and we have been the first, maybe one of the very first in the world to use the solar power, maybe almost 1 century ago. So we have to, and this is a must.
We have many countries, even in the Middle East, they started the solar power years ago.
And we don't lack the space.
Yes.
And now they were always complaining about the initial cost being high. Now it has been reduced considerably, and it's no more a burden. We have the space for the panels, and we can use as much space as we can on the Western Desert. And in my opinion, if we concentrate on that, within a very few days, years, we can be not only self-satisfied on the energy, but we can export coming from the solar.
Right. Moving on to Al Shuruk newspaper, just to take a look at the stock market. The Egyptian benchmark EGX30 index of the Egyptian exchange rose at Wednesday's close by 0.46% of 57.81 points to the level of 12,735.36 points. And similarly, the EGX70, EGX100 and EGX50 indices advanced 3.26%, 2.44% and 0.83% respectively. Just your comment on the stock market, because again, we always believe that this is something, a sort of business.
It's a business and...
not a real indicator.
But it hasn't changed dramatically. So it is moving within the normal range, which happens to all the exchanges.
As for Al-Ahram newspaper, Egypt's foreign trade since early November, when the government floated the country's currency till the end of February, amounted to $21 billion, according to the central bank statement. According to the statement, the Central Bank of Egypt has told lenders based in the country to notify it before providing governmental entities with foreign currencies upon the Prime Minister's directives. These entities include public economics institutions, public business sector companies, as well as government contractors and supplies.
This is the only thing we're lacking now, is to provide the contractors, whether companies working in Egypt, whether foreign or local, needing foreign currency. And I think it is, the central bank is doing a great job here, but once again, we have to concentrate on production, on export, and on increasing our incoming flow of foreign currency so that we can cope with all the required needs of the local and the foreign companies.
Right, and still with some economic news, moving on to اليوم السابع. Minister of Investment and International Cooperation Sahar Nasr said that a delegation from the World Bank and the International Finance Corporation will be visiting Cairo next week. Nasr said in a statement on Wednesday that the delegation will be in Egypt on the 12th and 13th of March to discuss the economic reforms carried out by the government to improve the investment climate. The delegation will discuss the annual Doing Business report, Nasr added, stating that the ministry plans to take some measures of noticeable, rapid impact in order to attract more foreign direct investments. This is also something, I believe, talking about investments in Egypt and how to attract foreign investments. And maybe I want to talk about the role the minister is doing, meeting with the businessmen, traveling to the businessmen to sit with each one to find out more about his problems and challenges, and even sitting with the Egyptian businessmen, because we have to solve it inside first before we think about the outside. How do you read this piece of news?
First of all, let me comment on the visit. I mean, this is a regular follow-up visit.
Yes.
But I mean, we've been talking about investments, and the thing is that we know the problems, we know the solution, and we never did it. And we still talk. There is no use in sitting with the investors, because I'm sure 100 ministers sat, and the problems
but talking
have
about
not
the
changed.
idea of, definitely each one has his own challenges and each one has some obstacles.
Sure, but the whole thing concentrates on a few obstacles.
You think the new
on
investment
a few problems.
law can help or promote for the investment?
Where is it? I mean, have you heard anything about it?
Yes, I heard about it.
Well, we
I've
heard
read
that it is in the pipeline, but apparently it's a long pipeline. We need to to read, to have some highlights about this law coming up, and see if it will really help, because we have been talking about reforms and about the change of the investment law over the last at least 2 or 3 decades. And it's all patching up, but there is no real law that encourages, whereas all around us, countries have issued new laws, and the investments in these countries, I don't want to name countries, but again, it made a hell of a big change. So we need a new law that can really attract and give benefit and advantages to the investors. But we need to know what it is all about, because we don't know.
Right, at the end, Dr. Raouf Gafaar, a political and economic analyst, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
And still, we have more to bring you on our breakfast show. So let's move on to a quick break, and then we'll be back to resume our show.